Hello, hello. Welcome to the Visionary Leaders Collective podcast. I'm Aisha Harley, one of the founding members. Our community meets every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time for insightful and educational conversations. Today, we are exploring the soon-to-be released MetaPWR Recharge. We are excited about this conversation today. You can catch up on missed episodes on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. To stay up to date with our community offerings, please visit us at hellovisionary.life, where you can opt into our weekly newsletter and text reminders. And of course, we are very grateful if you take a few minutes to offer us a 5-star review. Okay, Dr. Josie, we are ready for the PowerPoint. We have a short PowerPoint that we are going to share with you today. We're going to discuss the soon-to-be released MetaPWR Recharge, which is part of the MetaPWR system. Look at, we have a lot of people still entering the room. So let me let everybody in.
Alrighty.
Here. You know what, Jose?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. It might be hard for, I'll try to do my best. It's hard to present and talk and let people in the room at the same time.
Do it, Aish. You want me to just go for it?
Let me.
Aisha's going to start off. So for everyone's first coming in, we have a short just grounding PowerPoint. There was some good information we found. We collected that. We're going to go over it, and then we're going to open it up for discussion and current information and talking about the importance of minerals, electrolytes, and in our lives.
Okay, I'm ready, and you are the new host.
Okay, so.
Okay, here it is. Drop a little love in the chat if you are at convention or if you got the convention kit and you have already sampled the MetaPWR Recharge. For those of us that have sampled it, we love it. And we are so excited that this is going to be released in February. So in a world that moves at lightning speed, it's easy to overlook one of the most essential aspects of your metabolic health, which is hydration. Hydration is about more than drinking water. Oh, we weren't quite done with that slide.
Yeah, I can't move anything. Sorry. I can't let people in without doing that.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that's what's tricky. Okay. Hydration is about more than drinking water. It's about feeling more energized, focused, and vibrant by combating the rampant dehydration that affects nearly 75% of the globe. That's a pretty staggering statistic. MetaPWR Recharge is the newest member of our MetaPWR system. It's a game changer. This hydration supplement isn't just another drink. It's your key to recharging your health in 2024 and beyond.
Alrighty. So we are talking about that. That is true. There's a lot of data around this idea of dehydration in our population, and 75%, y'all. This is an underlying foundational aspect. When we talk about the foundations for health, we think of the LLV, and we've brought on a probiotic like the new PB what's it called? Assist one. And we also talk about using the MetaPWR powder that has come for the collagen powder and all the things. We think about these as foundational items in our health. And this is another one. This is, I think, the last piece of the whole MetaPWR system. And so I like this slide because it's saying for moms, athletes, and everyone in between. And this is so true. We're going to talk about this difference between what does an athlete or someone who sweats a lot. It could be saunaing, it could be like working out every day, it could be both of those, versus just being a regular person, not really doing those things, versus being an older person. When you have elders in your life, this issue and this knowledge around electrolytes and dehydration and its importance really comes to the forefront. A lot of the times when people have less resources in their bodies, like when we get really old, you see you can't compensate as much. And so you see these things much more clearly. And I know Dr. Mika and myself are both in caretaking positions right now with our parents. And one of the biggest thing that you look out for always, when someone, an elder, doesn't feel well, is shaky, is anything that's going on with them, the first thing you think about is hydration and dehydration and getting them water. But you don't just want to get them water, you want to get them electrolytes. My mother was literally wilting like a flower with her cognition. She has dementia, she has mobility issues, she's quite old, and it was getting worse and worse. And I finally said, you guys, we need an electrolyte. This was before Recharge. And my family was not on board. They didn't quite get it. And finally, when I went there, I gave an electrolyte to her. And it was like watching, you've seen this with plants, like just kind of go. So I'm telling this obviousness in the elderly with how important this is in our lives. So I'm going to read this. Whether you're feeling sluggish during your day or you're preparing for a marathon, right? Sluggish during your day could be us and moms. And when you're feeling tired, it's not that you need coffee or a stimulant. One of the first things you want to start to train yourself to think about is, am I adequately hydrated with the correct minerals and electrolytes? This is what you want to think about. MetaPWR Recharge is crafted to keep you at your peak. This formula includes, and this is important, a 1-to-3 ratio of sodium, that's salt, to potassium, supporting cardiovascular and bone health. These are the things we don't really think about when we think about electrolytes. How important it is for our cardiovascular health, our bone health. Oh my goodness, our blood pressure. That's one of the biggest things. One of the biggest reasons elders fall is they're dehydrated, but it's not just water, it's actually electrolytes, and it causes their blood pressure to drop and they fall. And then they break a hip and then they die. That's the biggest way people die in the United States when they're old. Sorry to get real on everybody. So blood pressure regulation, kidney function, and overall wellness. And I think when they're saying that, they're actually mean mental health in there too, overall wellness. Electrolytes are key and huge for our mental and emotional well-being and how our brain is functioning. So the MetaPWR Recharge ensures that you stay focused and energized, tackling your to-do list with a midday slump. I want everyone to really take this in about this idea of it actually energizing you. If you've never experienced a good mineral and electrolyte drink, you're going to be so surprised at how much energy you get from it. So, sorry, I got to do this. Here's some of the things we want you to know about what makes MetaPWR Recharge different from other types of electrolyte products. So it's the highest quality of magnesiums. It has 4 different magnesiums in it. Now that's rare in a product. So have you ever felt that no matter how much you drink, you still don't get totally hydrated? That's because you don't have minerals in that water. That's where MetaPWR Recharge steps in. This incredible formula delivers a broad spectrum of 6 essential electrolytes and over 75, I'm going to say that again, over 75 trace minerals straight into your glass or water bottle, making it a mineral-rich elixir that helps your cells hold on to the water they need and replenish your body on a microscopic level. So one of the cool ingredients, we have a little slide, is baobab extract, and that is specific for helping your cells actually retain and hold onto and move water in the cell more effectively. And that is such a special quality to this extract. And you're going to see that these 25 trace minerals actually come from deep ocean water. I'm loving both of these. So these come from the Instagram stories, and we wanted to just show everyone them quickly. So did you know that over 75% of the population is deficient in magnesium? And there are 4 different types here in the recharge. We're going to go over them. So there is magnesium sulfate. Magnesium sulfate, gosh, this is so hard to do the presentation. And there we go. Sorry, everybody. And actually read slides. So magnesium sulfate is used, both of these, magnesium sulfate and citrate, usually come to the top of the list, we think, for healthy bowel function. So used to relieve constipation. But the sulfate is the thing that you would see when you're going to take a magnesium soak. It helps with stiffness in joints. It's working with your musculature. And the magnesium citrate works together with citrate ions with the magnesium, and it helps with bowel function as well. The fact that they're putting in magnesium L-threonate, this is a much more special magnesium. And the studies have shown that the L-threonate is effective at increasing magnesium ions in the brain and improving cognitive function. It's one of the specific magnesiums you want to take that more for mental wellness and brain health. And then magnesium chloride has been also found to help uplift a mood and enhance well-being. Going over this idea of sodium to potassium, we know potassium is in bananas, but I think most people are like, well, what else? Why do I care about potassium? So potassium is a mineral that's essentially for all your bodily functions. It helps your nerves, your muscles, and your heart function as well. It also ensures the efficient movement of nutrients into the cells and eliminating and the bringing of the waste out of the cells. It's very important, your ratios of potassium. Historically, potassium supplementation has proven effective in balancing fluid levels within the body. And studies suggest a high potassium intake can help reduce water retention by increasing urine productions and reducing sodium levels. Now, the interesting thing is we're Americans and we tend to go all the way with everything, right? So we think, oh, high potassium, good, salt, bad. So we come up with these diets, and then you see them, especially for elder folk, where it's basically like no salt and eat lots of potassium. And guess what we're finding? That's not effective and it's not good. That it's all about the ratios and the balance. And so sodium is not a toxin. Salt is not all bad. It's actually very important. It's an essential nutrient for hydration, performance, and energy when, here's the key words, when maintained at appropriate levels. The human body requires a healthy amount of sodium to conduct nerve impulses, contract and relax muscles, and maintain a proper water and mineral balance. When dietary sodium is too low, your body enters a sodium retention mode. Hold on. Prompting spikes in hormones like aldosterone, renin, and angiotensin, which basically makes the kidneys retain sodium. So when it's too low, your body holds on to this sodium and you blow up. Now, not blow up, but you get puffy and you retain water because your body's then trying to balance this stored sodium. So the problem, these hormones, the ones with the kidneys that react, are also impact your blood pressure, which is one of the main things. Sodium at the right levels helps maintain steady blood pressure that's already within a normal range. So think about these symptoms: occasional brain fog, lethargy, irritability, weakness, muscle cramps, and head tension. They can have a variety of causes. We hear about them a lot in menopausal menopausal women in these categories. These are some of the main kind of things that you start to hear about in people over 50. But a big underlying cause can be a sodium deficiency. Now, it depends on your lifestyle and your diet. But if you have an active lifestyle, you sweat frequently, you eat a low-carb diet, and you practice intermittent fasting, so on, or you do a keto diet, things like this, you may need a lot more sodium than you are receiving. So it depends on the audience. This is crucial, but we're here in Visionary Leaders. We are a very healthy group and audience. And I know when I'm talking and speaking that a lot of people here work out multiple times a week, they sauna, they have low carb diets, they also do some intermittent fasting or some keto diets, right? All of these things, and eat organic, unpackaged foods. So when you eat a mostly natural organic diet, and you are not buying, you're eating from the outside of the market and not all the packaged inside foods that they talk about, you definitely be deficient in sodium. And so that is one of the things we're actually talking about. People who have a relatively healthy lifestyle and sweat and do not eat a lot of packaged foods. And then you have elder people as well. This is what we want to start saying is that electrolytes and minerals become very important. And MetaPWR Recharge maintains that, helps you with the balance. It's all about that balance. Remember that 3-to-1 ratio of sodium potassium, with maintaining optimal sodium levels, ensuring benefits without the drawbacks of excessive sodium intake. They had a slide we wanted to just go over also. There's calcium in here, and calcium's role in muscle function and maintaining your heart function as well, and the link between high calcium consumption and lower blood pressure, and also that connection with calcium easing symptoms of premenstrual symptoms, and also women experiencing premenstrual symptoms generally have lower calcium and magnesium intakes in the serum. So having a daily small, gentle, easy dose, right? We're not talking about mega dosing here, but we're talking about supplementing in a way that is highly absorbable for your body. And calcium is one of the things that is not easily absorbable in our bodies. I wanted to get a picture. Check out the baobab tree. Does that remind you of anything? It reminds me of an elephant trunk or elephant legs, right? It's this huge, if you guys, trunk, and it has these nice things at the top that look basically like your alveoli in a lung. And this aspect of the baobab extract that is in the MetaPWR Recharge, it's called the African Tree of Life, and it helps to drive water directly to where your body needs it most. And there is also ginseng root is one of the other ingredients in MetaPWR Recharge. And ginseng helps to give your brain and your energy levels a natural boost so you can stay active without that crash that comes from synthetic boosts to energy. And I believe this was some of the wording. I wanted to make sure I had, gone over everything. I don't know if there's chloride, the sodium potassium chloride, and phosphate, which is also in here. And I like this when they talked about the baobab extract. They say emerging preclinical research suggests baobab extract enhances cellular water transport, meaning your cells stay hydrated longer. Now, that's a great way of explaining it. And then diving deeper, talking about all of these 75 trace minerals. Where's that from? So that's coming from deep ocean mineral water. And what I like this, the deep ocean minerals are extracted with microfiltration and reverse osmosis to help us transport water and electrolytes in and out of your cells. So it's a wonderful source to be getting these trace minerals from and working with that microfiltration and reverse osmosis of deep ocean water. Here's a small chart on how it compares. They don't have amounts here, but just looking at some of the main competitors. We can talk about LMNT. That is a competitor that is really into the ratio of sodium, potassium, magnesium, and that's all that's in there. but it's a very high sodium. It is really for athletes and people who are really sweating and wanting to replace. That's how I think of it, in terms of bringing in 1,000 milligrams of sodium in that, versus, I believe in Recharge, we're talking, actually I have to look at the amounts, but it's nowhere near 1,000 of sodium. And then Body Armor and Liquid IV. And you can see most things on the market are really just looking with, are giving you some sodium and potassium in small doses, except for the LMT, it's a large dose. So bringing it all back together, and now we can chat. I would like to, here's what I'm going to say. This is a great recap slide. MetaPWR Recharge, the benefits: it provides the best balance of electrolytes, including sodium and potassium. It helps to increase cellular hydration with baobab tree extract and 75 trace minerals from deep ocean water. And it features a delicious natural flavor that anyone can enjoy. And I would like to say it is liquid. They're little pouches that are kind of like the PB Assist Pixie Sticks in terms of size. But when you open that up, it is a liquid and you pour it into the water and it is absolutely delicious. No sugars added that raise your blood sugar. And it just brings in a lot of possibilities, especially for elders and young people, when you have a liquid supplement like this. All right. That is the end of our PowerPoint.
Thank you so much, Dr. Josie. We're going to stop the recording for everybody listening on the podcast. So I just want to announce really quick that next week, Erin Fugate will be talking about aromatherapy for emotional healing. So please join us next Monday at 10 a.m. I am going to turn off.
Let's keep the recording for a little bit.
Want to keep the recording on for a little bit? Okay, for those of you listening to,
maybe we can have some stuff at the end. Yeah, because I think we're going to have some great conversation about electrolytes and
okay, we'll keep the recording going.
And people are asking, the release date was supposed to be January. It's now February, and there's not a date. You have to go into your account and click on the banner that comes up, and you click on to get an email about when it's going to be released, sometime in February.
We will certainly announce it as soon as we find out.
Okay, so anyone want to come on and, there's definitely, I wouldn't call it controversy, but there's fun, interesting, newer science around electrolytes. And what I spoke about this high sodium versus, I think standard electrolytes will have about around 100 to 200 to 300 at max milligrams of sodium in their formulas. And some are balanced in a ratio and some are not. And some of these some other companies are doing like 1,000 milligrams of sodium. So that's an interesting thing we can talk about, and the differences. But I see Dr. Mika has her hand up. So let's have her come on.
Hi. Ooh, what a great presentation. Thanks, Dr. Josie.
Yes.
I had two things. When you showed the picture of the baobab and how amazing that trunk is, and then with the flora, the leaves up above, that also reminded me of the spine and the vertebrae. And the cerebral spinal fluid going through and nourishing the vertebrae, and how if anyone has concern about tensile strength of their bones, that's what electrolytes are really helpful for. You kind of said that, but I just want to say that, and going up to your brain and how the electrolytes nourish every neuron in your brain. That's how they work. It's on that pump, that sodium potassium pump, the exchange of the sodium potassium to nourish the myelin sheath and the neurons. And so when you and now the baobab is in there, that's going to be great for the nervous system and you said it, brain health. But I just had a different lens of more going
Yes.
grow into the neurons of the brain, and anyone who has a neuronal condition, they should be taking these electrolytes. The
Yes.
other two things I want to say, and then that's it, is that when you work out and you're like, oh, I'm so sore. There's a point where you should be sore, but when it's like, I can't sit on the toilet because I'm so sore because I worked out too hard. No, that's probably, and then the day after, like 3 days after, and you're still sore, that means that's a good indication that you are not getting enough electrolytes.
Electrolytes are right. Like I said with my mom, and I mean, she was, she actually fainted and broke some bones. And we know it was before she had electrolytes. That was part of it. That's when we brought him in too late. But for people in their mid of their life, it's huge with recovery. And the two biggest things that you are going to want to do if you are starting if you're maintaining any kind of exercise regime, or you're starting one, is this recharge and the MetaPWR Advantage. Oh my gosh, I can't even. And then like that's like what you should send someone as a present with a deep blue stick. Like in January when people are getting on new exercise things, because it will make the most hugest difference. And thank you for reinforcing bones, our minerals. And you don't just take calcium and you see our calcium supplement, you see it has minerals with it. This is on a different level. This is an amazing formulation that is new, that is absorbable at an incredible liquid form. Yeah. Often hunger is mistaken for thirst. Yes.
Yeah. One other thing I want to say is that with elders, because I am here taking care of my parents, when my dad was, just sick, he was vomiting and diarrhea, and it's like, oh no, you're really concerned about, like you said, Dr. Josie, about they already had dehydration, and now this is on top of it. And I had to go to Walgreens to get an electrolyte. And I stood there for quite some time trying to find one that wasn't just high with the glucose corn syrup. I was shocked that there was dyes in it. There was sugar in it. It was just not even in my mind considered an electrolyte. So I got the best one I could get out of all of those toxic ones, which didn't make me feel good. So I can't wait for this to come out.
Yeah, and I want to say, so this is a formulation that is a daily formulation for everybody. So this is kind of where doTERRA rests in that zone, so you can have specialty products for like super athletes, and you can have products and all these different ones. This, at the levels of all of the balance of the minerals and the electrolytes, is a daily dose for elders and I don't know, midlifers, whatever. We're going in ourselves and young people. So that's how you want to think of it. If you are doing a lot, if you have a pretty good exercise regime and you are sweating, I have to look and stuff, but my feeling is you're probably going to want 2 of these, like the 1 packet. And we've had it. It is delicious, y'all. There's no creepy, super sweet flavors. And there's all this stuff floating around right now. And people there's companies that people are checking out. And I can't believe how nasty some of these liquid things are that are very popular right now. They're so sweet. And I'm like, ugh. and chemical tasting. This is so natural tasting, and I feel like it's quite strong. I think it says in 8 to 10 ounces, and I'm like, you're gonna want that in 16 to 20 to 24 ounces of water. That's like one recharge is a nice big water bottle. Do we have any stories from people from convention and people taking it? Florence.
I actually don't have an experience with taking it. I've been hoarding it.
Oh,
I have to share it, but I do want to just share a little quick story about the importance of hydration and how I firsthand, even though I was a good water drinker, 3 years ago in January, I had a major heart attack. And when the paramedics came, they had a really big struggle getting into my veins. It was quite the struggle. And so that importance, and I'm probably in most of those older lady. I'm 73, so this happened at 70 when I had the heart attack. And like I said, I am a good water drinker, but I hadn't been adding electrolytes in to anything other than when I had done half marathons. I would do some type of electrolyte for that because I was very much overexerting. So I'm super excited about having and knowing what's appropriate, how much to take. And I love your presentation, Dr. Josie, for spelling out that salt and potassium and everything, because that, I have learned that, with cardiac rehab, I had to learn about sugar intake, sodium intake, and so it's something that's really wise to be watching. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you,
That's
Florence.
awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to share, there are just a couple testimonials of people that had it at convention, and I'm just going to summarize. There's one testimonial of a woman that it really helped with her bladder, and it kept her from actually having to get up at night to pee. So she said that she was sleeping much better through the night and just feeling much better around her bladder. And then there's another testimonial that really talks about the difference it's made in her walking and not experiencing any pain for the first time in 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, she said that her feet break apart and dislocate when I walk, and that has stopped. So magnesium plus salt is doing its thing. It's also extended the effect of MetaPWR for me. It's also helped another woman with her leg swelling. That has subsided. So those are just some of the things that people were sharing from convention.
Hey, Aisha, I have Will one does not have internet, but he can tell us about because he is an athlete, about his information on electrolytes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi, Will. Okay, you're on Zoom.
Okay, great. Hi, visionary leaders. Can you hear me?
Hey, Dr. Will One, Southwest Portland.
Yeah, it's been a crazy trip here to Portland.
Will you turn your volume all the way up, Mika, and hold it close to your speaker?
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
So thank you for letting me talk about the electrolytes. And specifically, I have always used a little story about electrolytes for my patients, athletes, etc. And in ancient times, there used to be something called toll booths on the highways where we would have to drive through, slow down, and there would be a bucket. And you'd have a token, and you would throw this token into this little bucket, and voila, magic happens, and this gate mysteriously opens, right? At the cellular level, we've got these gates and these gateways where if you don't have the token, then the gateway doesn't open. And so I also utilize this analogy that the water is like a vehicle that's passing through these gateways along with the token. So if you don't have tokens, i.e. these electrolytes, you're basically going in an empty vehicle, an empty car. And so the gateway does not open, and you kind of are not allowed. So at the cellular level, the water, if it doesn't have electrolytes, typically will just stick around in the intra or intercellular space, just waiting its time to then be able to be excreted out as just water. So ultimately, the quality of these electrolytes also really is really important. And so doTERRA's electrolyte has obviously sourced their electrolytes to be of really quality nature. I've used their packets almost I ran out, but but I used to use them before and after runs. I do say though, as an athlete, you do have to make sure you train with those electrolytes before using them during races, so that way you don't have any new substances on board while you're doing a race. That would be oftentimes causing some degree of potential GI distress. But yeah, if you've trained with it, it's really a remarkable electrolyte that I found. And that's all I have to say.
Oh, thank you, Will. Thank you so much. Yes. So if you or anyone you know is experiencing any kind of edema, which otherwise known as puffiness in places where it was formerly or shouldn't be puffy.
From the electrolytes?
No, I was just sort of saying in the call to people, kind of bringing that out, this idea of edema and puffiness in your ankles, in that is what Will is talking about. That is the water sitting in extracellular space, not being able to move through the toll booth into the correct places in the body. And so it's a huge symptom of electrolyte and mineral imbalance.
Yes, very much so. And it also can then mean you're dehydrating, even though you've got,
Right.
swelling or edema.
Yeah. And if you're in that state and you just drink water, it's not really going to help that much. That's why people mostly do that. The doctors say you're dehydrated, go drink water. They're already in a state of deficiency and edema, and their kidneys or their heart is also having trouble because this is a long-term process that has taken their whole life to get there. You need to add minerals and electrolytes to help with when you're drinking your water, to help slowly rebuild your body's ability to rehydrate.
Right. And in the Chinese medicine perspective, you can really see that on the tongue when there's a little bit of cracking or a lot of cracking on the tongue. That is a fluid dynamic imbalance.
Okay.
So to keep an eye on your tongue, ultimately you can see if there's cracking or minor to moderate cracking. There's situations where the cracks on the tongue can be constitutional or what you were born with. I've run across maybe one or two out of the 20 years, so it's not necessarily that common. Most of the origins of the cracking of the tongue, actual tongue body, is more from a fluid dynamic imbalance.
Thank you, Will. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
All right. do we have, Marilyn asked if, was I saying that I'd use 2 packets at a time? No, I would use, if I were sweating a lot with exercise, athleticism, sauning, I would use like 2 packets morning, evening, like through the course of the whole day. Right? Yeah.
For morning and then after your workout. If your workout's later on in the day after your workout.
Yeah, but just stretch it out and kind of be having 2 over the course of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that's coming up for people? Any questions? Any thoughts? I just want to read Marilyn Buckley. She has a testimonial or here in the chat. She says, recently I was experiencing very severe leg cramping and honestly did not realize I was significantly dehydrated. And she goes, I know better. And I started taking the recharge again and increasing my water intake, and voila, the cramping disappeared. Thank you, Recharge. Yeah. So many of these things, and you will notice a difference. And maybe it's not as intense in something like severe leg cramping. It might be just a little bit of sluggishness and lack of energy in the middle of the day. And you start taking a really good daily electrolyte mix like this, and just check out your energy and your and physical and mental, emotional energy, and your how your brain is working.
I was going to say brain fog. If you have brain fog.
Yes. Take it in the AM with MetaPWR Assist, same time, what order? Good question. You mean MetaPWR Advantage? The collagen? Yeah. Aisha, did you read about that? I mean, we've been training on, like, I just do the Advantage by itself with like not a lot of water and get it down all at once. So I'm kind of like in that mode.
Yeah, I don't know that I would mix them. What I would probably do is do the Advantage. Like I do the Advantage first thing in the morning, or do the Advantage if you do it before bed, kind of as its own separate thing. And then the Recharge is something that you can drink through the day. One mistake people were making with Advantage was putting it in their water bottle and sipping it through the day. That's not really how that's intended to be used. So this is, your hydration that you can have throughout the day. And again, especially if you're working out, saunaing, any of that. So that's how I would do that.
And Marilyn asked, could dehydration be a cause of high blood pressure? And the answer is yes. All of these things we're talking about, imbalance of your electrolytes and your minerals can definitely be contributing to your blood pressure dysregulation. So I think what we will see is if people start using this on a regular basis, just a small daily dose daily over the course of a month, you will start to see some more balance if you don't have balance in things like your blood pressure. So that'll be really wonderful and interesting to see in the group.
And I did mention this earlier in the chat, but it's really important to realize that sometimes we can mistake hunger for dehydration, and that oftentimes it is dehydration. So as your body becomes more hydrated, and this becomes more balanced, it should also help with your kind of overall general appetite and cravings.
Cravings for salty chips, you mean? Is that what you're trying to say? So if you crave a lot of salty stuff, like I do, I'm excited because I know that when I'm working with a better electrolyte mix, I do not crave the salty chips at night, the way I can. So it's very helpful also for just better eating practices.
Fantastic. Is there anything more to add to this conversation about MetaPWR Recharge? Again, we will announce as soon as it's released, but we're expecting the 1st of February. We're hoping, our fingers are crossed, because I know many of us have ran out that did have it, and everyone else can try it. And it really is an amazing addition to add to your daily health routine. Okay, so I'm actually going to turn off the recording here, but we can still hang out for a couple minutes.